So I thought this week I'd show you a couple of patterns based around two pentatonic shapes that are sort of glued together. So the concept is this, basically. You take your first pentatonic shape, so I'm in C sharp minor, first position pentatonic, and then the next position up in C sharp minor would be this one. And so all you do is you glue those two together to get a 3-note per string pattern like this. And that has those repeated notes. The third note on one string, the first note on the next string up. And doing that gives you a number of different ways of playing lines across these strings now. So this is something I've spoken about in previous videos. I'll put a link to it as well. In that one I talked about descending fives using this particular fingering. So this week I thought I'd give you a 4-note, a 16th note line and a triplet line. So let's try the 16th note line to start with. Okay, so I'm going to play in C sharp minor up around the 9th fret, so that's where my blues shape is, my pentatonic shape. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play a little 4-note fragment on each string. So if I number the notes on each string 1, 2 and 3, all I'm going to do is 2, 1, 2, 3, then move to the next string. 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. And that takes me all the way across the strings. And the nice thing about this pattern really is that it starts to train you to move on that middle finger. So you're moving position to every new string on the middle finger, not on the first finger or the third finger. You tend to find if you play a lot of 3 notes per string patterns, you move position on either the third finger or the first finger. If you do that with these kinds of stretched out blues shapes, you end up with a repeated note. Whereas if you learn a pattern where the string changes on a middle note, like this, you don't get that repeated note. Okay, so that's got me all the way across to the E string. Now all I do is change the shape a little bit just because I like the sound of it. So I'm still doing 2, 1, 2 on the E string, but my 3 is on the B string instead of going 2, 1, 2, 3. And then 2, 1, 2 on the B string and 3 on the G. And that takes me back across the strings again. Okay, so as I say, the real challenge really when you're first getting the hang of this kind of shape is changing string on the second note in the group of 3. You tend to find you do that an awful lot more because that prevents you having that repeated note. So let's have a look at the triplet pattern anyway. Okay, so this time I'm going to refinger quite a familiar pattern. It's just the ascending and descending groups of 3. So normally you play it like this. And the issue here, the thing that people stumble over, is that string cross. But if you refinger it to use these kinds of extended patterns, you minimise the number of string crosses that you need to make, just like this. So what I'm doing this time, again, I'll number the notes 1, 2, 3 on the string. We play a 6-note fragment per string, which is this: 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. And that takes you all the way across the string. And as you can see, all I'm doing is play 6 notes on a string and then moving, so I don't have that situation where I'm bouncing between 2 strings. And coming back down is pretty much the same. 2, 1, so 2, 1, 2, 1, then I change strings 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. Now that pattern is something that I do use when I'm playing. I find it really quite nice to be able to minimise the amount of string crossing, especially if I'm playing legato lines. It can be really quite challenging to do all the hammer-ons from nothing when you're playing sort of triplet lines like that. So this is a good way of playing ascending and descending threes without having to change strings too many times. Anyway, see what you can come up with, and we'll chat next time. Goodbye.